Welcome, everyone. We're just waiting a couple minutes for everyone to join. Sudi John, you'll give us a little heads up when everyone is in for the 8 o'clock rally. And thank you to everyone who joined our reception, and especially to Congressman Himes, who was our guest speaker for our reception. We're just waiting a couple minutes for everyone to join. Sudi will give us the thumbs up.
Yes, our attendees are rolling up very quickly. We're just waiting to have a few more people join as well. And meanwhile, we get to watch a short video and be back to Shiva and Alex.
The one thing Kamala Harris has always been: fearless. As a prosecutor, she put murderers and abusers behind bars. As California's Attorney General, she went after the big banks and won $20 billion for homeowners. And as Vice President, she took on the big drug companies to cap the cost of insulin for seniors. Because Kamala Harris has always known who she represents.
This campaign is about who we fight for. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. Where every senior can retire with dignity. But Donald Trump wants to take our country backward, to give tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and end the Affordable Care Act. But we are not going back. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here tonight or afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. We have people joining us here, supporters, activists, volunteers, and voters. Notice my vote necklace here, from 15 different states, from coast to coast: New York, Connecticut, swing states of Arizona, North Carolina, Georgia. The DMV is in the house: DC, Maryland, Virginia. Who can forget Texas and California? And finally, Illinois, Washington State, Florida, where I want to acknowledge not just Florida, but the whole area that has been impacted and everything they're going through with the hurricane. And we've got Tennessee in the house. And if you can believe it, we have someone here from Alaska. So thank you so much for being here. I'm Shiva Sararam. I live in Connecticut, and I'm a proud Iranian American who truly believes that while our democracy here is far from being perfect, and in fact, it's a young experiment that's only 250 years old, that it is still the best form of government and one that requires participation. That's why every time I threaten to quit and I'm done with all this, I keep coming back because I believe in this experiment called America. Today, there are more than 1.5 million Iranian Americans nationwide. Iranian Americans are well integrated into the fabric of American life and society with a deep footprint in industry, medicine, academia, you name it. And we make contributions in all sectors of American life. With that, it's now my pleasure to introduce my co-host, Alex Mohajer. Alex?
Shiva John, Gorgunat Beram, thank you so much. Dorud Bahamegi, and welcome to our Iranian Americans for Harris rally. We are celebrating nationwide tonight to help elect Kamala Harris, the first woman president of the United States, and at a very crucial time. I'm proud to be the president of the Iranian American Democrats of California and representing in the home of the largest diaspora of Iranians outside of Iran. And our community uniquely understands the responsibility we bear to democracy and to protect civil liberties. And right now is the time for our community to step up to the plate to protect democratic principles and norms, because we also uniquely understand what it is for our countrymen and our loved ones to lose those freedoms. So very proud to be here to support Kamala Harris tonight with all of you. And we have a very exciting roster of elected officials from across the country, and very, very excited to kick it off.
Excellent.
Go, Shiva.
Thank you so much. Before we introduce Congressman Himes and welcome him, quick shout out to Sudi John and Navid John, who are going to introduce themselves. Sudi.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sudi Faroknia. I'm the treasurer and the co-founder of Iranian American Democrats of California. It's been a pleasure putting this program together, and we're going to have a wonderful program coming up. Navid John, it's you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Navi Zanjani from Texas. I have a public affairs firm here, and I work in multiple states from basically Texas all the way to Florida. And I thank all my guests and friends here tonight for joining us. I'm super excited of the event that we're going to have tonight. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I am lucky enough to be able to call Congressman Himes, Connecticut 4, my representative. And of course, you all know him from across the nation as one of the most thoughtful, pragmatic problem solvers out there. With that, welcome, Congressman. Tell us what we have to do in the next 36 days, because it does not a lot of time. And early voting, in fact, has started in much of the country, and it is about to start, right here. So what's at stake, Congressman?
Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Shiva and Alex. It's a delight to help you kick off this rally. I will tell you a little bit about what you want to do, but the one thing that I can do, I serve in the House of Representatives, so I am an emissary from a very strange and exotic and sometimes terrible land, and I see up close and personal. If I'm not careful, I will find myself sitting next to Matt Gaetz or Paul Gosar or Lauren Boebert. So I live this every day, and I was given 3 minutes, so I have 3 reasons why this is really so critical. And look, I understand how hard it is. I've been in public service now for a long time. The door knocking, the phone calls, the text banking, the writing that check that you really didn't want to write. Here's why we do it. Number one, policy contrast. I need you to think about this. 4 years of Donald Trump, 4 years, and he had the House and the Senate for 2 of those years. What did he do? He passed, this is it. This is all he did. Apart from all the chaos and all the crazy and the promise for new healthcare plans, he did one thing. He passed a tax bill which handed 83% of its benefits, $2 trillion of deficit explosion, handed 83% of that to the top 1% of income earners in the country. Now, what did we do when we had the Senate, the House, and the presidency? We passed the largest infrastructure investment since the Eisenhower administration that is rebuilding railways and highways and bridges right now. We did that on a bipartisan basis. We passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which for the first time is controlling the cost of prescription drugs for our seniors, negotiating with the pharmaceutical companies for good pricing on the drugs that seniors need and use most. We passed gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years. We made the biggest investment in climate change ever. And we passed the CHIPS and Science Act, which is rebuilding our manufacturing capacity all over the country. We passed the PACT Act, which is keeping faith with our veterans who got exposed to burn pit disgustingness and need health. I could go on, but I've only got 3 minutes. But you get my point about the contrast. This is what happens when Democrats, and what will happen when Harris is president. So that's point one. Point two, and I wish this weren't true, but this is a moment where we the policy is important, but we think to ourselves, how did we get to a place where freedoms are being taken away from Americans, maybe for the first time ever? Look, Shiva said it right. We're not a perfect democracy. We have had a 250-year experiment of expanding freedoms to more and more people, to Black Americans, to Chinese Americans, to gay Americans. And now Donald Trump and the Supreme Court have turned that around. And they've done it with indecency, with bigotry, by turning us against each other. And so for values reasons, we really need to pull out all the stops in the next, what was it, Shiva said, 36 days or something. Lastly, and this is really important, I know, to this group of people. In the video, you said, you heard Vice President Harris say, in who you fight for. I want you to consider who it is that Donald Trump vilifies 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's immigrants. And it's not just vilification. They're drug dealers. They're rapists. They're responsible for the decline of America. There's 2 things wrong with that. Number one, it's absolutely wrong. Immigrants are what America is. Tech companies, you name it, are started and run by immigrants. Immigration will be what keeps this country's economy running strong. But secondly, it's just so inconsistent with our values as a country to vilify the very people who are most important to the fabric of our nation. And yes, Donald Trump tends to point to Latinos, Haitians, but any immigrant who thinks that they are exempt from the kind of hatred and anger and rage that Donald Trump is stoking right now is wrong. This is not a genie you easily put back in the bottle. So please, I'm so glad to help kick this off by saying, never has your hard work been more urgent. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Alex. Let's go out there and win this thing.
Fantastic, Congressman. Thank you so much. Thanks for having joined our reception. Thanks for being here. We promise we're going to make you proud. And I know I sleep better knowing that you're ranking member of Intel. So we gotta make you chair. And the way we do that is to win the House. And the way we win the House, of course, is to win it all. So thank you so much. Now, everyone, we know democracy is not a spectator sport. We also know that we all hate the money in politics, but this is how it's done. So for the Harris campaign to be able to put out more ads and continue to hire even more staff, even with 36 days out, we need more money. Coming into tonight, we've raised $103,000, but I know we can do better. Iranian Americans are overachievers. So throughout the evening, you'll see the QR codes all over the screens. You know what to do. With that, Alex is going to introduce Representative Schiff. Congressman, thank you.
ولی شیوا جون اصلا من تعارف بلد نیستم. I am donating right now, right after we introduce Congressman Schiff. We're so happy that we can have Congressman Adam Schiff with us tonight, soon to be U.S. Senator from California, representing California's 30th Congressional District. Adam Schiff is a candidate for U.S. Senate, and he's one of the biggest supporters of bills that support the Iranian people. So we're very pleased to introduce Congressman Adam Schiff.
Hello, Iranian Americans for Harris. It is wonderful to see you all gathered here today to be involved in the critical work of protecting our democracy. I am grateful for your hope, your determination, and your activism. The Iranian American community makes countless contributions to our country every day. Many of you have dedicated your lives to defending our nation, have served in all branches of the military as first responders, and so much more. You have enriched the nation in the arts and sciences, in law and medicine, in civic life, in every part of the fabric of our society. And as many of you know, the first responder on the scene during the tragic San Bernardino terrorist attack, not far away from my home district, was an Iranian American medic working with the SWAT team. The 2 million Iranian Americans in our nation are integral to the fabric of America, which is why it's so heartening to see this community coming together to support Kamala Harris for president. This election is the most important we have faced yet. Our democracy has never been more under threat, never. Because while we have the best written constitution in the world, and I fully believe we do, and I believe we have the best set of laws meant to constrain the worst impulses of human nature, all of that means nothing if those laws are written and enforced by a group of individuals who take an oath to defend those institutions and then turn around and betray them. We are going to have to work hard to make sure that when we answer to future generations, when they ask us, what did you do when our democracy was at stake, we can tell them we did everything. Those of us who grew up in a post-World War II generation have grown up at a time when our freedoms were ever increasing. We witnessed new democracies being born and walls coming down. We saw our freedoms increasing, the freedom to practice our faith, to associate with whom we would, or the freedom to marry whom we love. And I think we came to believe that this was somehow inexorable, that democracy was inexorable, that it was like the law of gravity, until suddenly we started losing rights, not gaining them. Suddenly we started to see the rise of autocrats around the world, even here at home. And we learned, like so many people have experienced in other countries, that there is nothing inevitable about democracy. There is nothing inevitable at all. Every generation has its own struggle to preserve this cherished legacy that we have from our founders. But I'm here to tell you that we will get through this. I found myself in the past 10 years using a phrase I didn't really use that much in the past: this too shall pass. We have an opportunity now to move forward and move away from the dark past in which we saw our rights and our democracy in danger. We have someone in Kamala Harris with a record of integrity, with a record of success, running against someone who ran our country into the ground and with no integrity. We have someone in Kamala Harris who has a forward-looking vision for working families, in contrast to their candidate, who has nothing but a dystopian vision of where he wants to drag this country. In Kamala Harris, we have someone who will unite Americans, not divide us. She'll protect our rights and take on the big fights to restore reproductive freedom, to protect our democracy, to save our planet, to ensure that every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead and succeed. This is a pivotal moment in our nation's history. The excitement and joy surrounding this nomination will make the way for victory. But we have to do our part. We have to do everything possible to save our democracy. And justice will be served when we send that former president to the dustbin of history where he belongs. We have to work together to protect and strengthen that democracy, especially when faced with those who would tear it down. The Harris-Walz ticket will do just that. And there are lots of ways for you to get involved. Volunteer and donate today. If you can't support financially, support on social media. Register to vote. Make sure your friends and family members are registered to vote. We need every eligible citizen to vote. Let's go win this thing.
That is fantastic. And of course, who can forget him as the impeachment manager? And as you said, Alex, John, soon to be Senator of California. I'm proud as someone who visits San Diego quite often and has family that lives there. I really just can't wait for him to be our next senator there. Next stop. Okay, who remembers, Florida from Meet the Press? Remember? Well, it's Michigan, Michigan, Michigan. So now we're going to hear from truly one of the most dynamic, intelligent women that I have met in public office. Elissa Slotkin is, of course, a current congresswoman and is running for one of the hardest Senate seats in the country. Tough race. And we're all going to be on pins and needles to find out what's going to happen in Michigan. So let's hear from Congresswoman Slotkin and hopefully soon to be Senator Slotkin.
Hello, Iranian Americans. I'm Elissa Slotkin, Congresswoman for Michigan's 7th District and now running for the U.S. Senate in the great state of Michigan. I wanted to take a moment and thank you all for your support for Kamala Harris, for Tim Walz, the campaign. We need every ounce of help we can get to win this thing in November, and it is really everyday people who are going to make the difference, so thank you. I have incredible respect for the Iranian American community. Many of you have gone through incredible turmoil, your parents, your grandparents, and come to this country because you believed in what it had to offer. The opportunity to create a better life for yourself, for your kids, free from political oppression. So Iranian Americans understand what's at stake in this election better than most. You've heard the rhetoric coming out of Donald Trump, the way he splits us as a strategy, turns Americans against Americans. And you know how dangerous it can be. It's old, but it's an effective tool, effective as it's been in the past. It's just as effective today. So Donald Trump can't go back into the White House. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are the right people to be in that spot. Kamala and Tim are laying out a positive vision for the future of America, one that respects every American and seeks to build an economy that works for everyone. It's what I'm fighting for here in Michigan as well. Michigan, we believe we invented the middle class, right? This idea that you could work hard in an auto plant and afford the vehicle you were building. We know that that's still a vision we have to fight for everywhere in the country. We have a month and a half to do everything we can to get Harris and Walz elected, along with Democrats up and down the ballot. And that means organizing Iranian Americans across the country, attending rallies like these, ones in person, donating, volunteering. There are lots of different ways to get involved and make a difference, but we need to run through the tape in November. So thank you again for coming out, for the support for the top of the ticket. Let's go win this thing.
Let's go win this thing. So let's
So
take a
awesome.
minute and send everybody to our website, Iranian Americans for Harris. It's all there. You can sign up to phone bank with us every Wednesday. We have a lot of fun. You can do letter writing there. Our group here in Connecticut, we've written 2,000 postcards handwritten for Elissa Slotkin, doing a phone bank for her on Wednesday morning. Lots and lots of ways. We do not want to have any regrets. I mean, you do not want to wake up on November 6th assuming some results are in with any regret, like, oh, if I had just spent, a half an hour less on whatever, right? Stressing or on Instagram or what have you. And I could have been making these calls. So Alex, to you, because I know we've got another really.
Yes. Well, I'm so excited to introduce our next guest because, Shiva John, I'm a millennial, and I've been saying for some time that we need more young people, more Gen Z, and more millennial representation in Congress and up and down the ballot across the country. And this next individual is a dynamic mover and shaker, is making history, is U.S. the United States' first Gen Z member of Congress. He's representing Florida's 10th congressional district, and we are so excited to welcome him. Please welcome Congressman Maxwell Frost. Hey, Maxwell, how's it going?
Hello, everybody, and hello to all the Iranian American Democrats for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I'm so proud to be on this call with all of you today, and all of these calls of different cultures, groups, constituencies across the country coming together to say, you know, we're fighting for our democracy, we're fighting against fascism, we're fighting against authoritarianism. We want our freedoms, we want our liberty, and we want it now. Is just, number one, of course, warms my heart, but I think number two, shows the type of leader that Kamala Harris is. You know, because these calls, they weren't like planned by the campaign themselves on, these are people, constituents, people who said, you know what, let's get up and let's get our folks together to stand together to make sure we're reaching out to our communities to make sure that we elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And I'm so proud to be here, everybody. I'm Congressman Maxwell Frost. I'm from Orlando, Florida. Thank you so much, Alex. I am the first Gen Z member of Congress, and many of you have heard about me because of that, or because I couldn't afford an apartment when I first moved to DC. I got denied to every apartment I tried to move into as a congressman-elect, and I've dealt with a lot of housing insecurity. But what gives me hope is the fact that for the first time, a presidential candidate has said, I have a plan for housing. Here is my Marshall Plan for housing. Here is my plan to make sure we end gun violence. Here's my plan to make sure we fight the climate crisis. Here's my plan to make sure that we lift up all boats, that everyone has economic freedom. And, you know, I love that freedom. And it's funny because I've been saying this for so long, and to see Kamala pick this up, this notion of freedom doesn't belong to one party. Patriotism doesn't belong to the Republican Party. And for them, patriotism means a damn slogan on your hat. For us, patriotism is more than a vibe. It's more than a slogan. It's the freedom to have what you need. It's the freedom to walk into your school or your place of worship or your community without being gunned down due to gun violence. It's the freedom to have economic prosperity. It's the freedom to do what you want in this country. And so when it comes down to the vision of Donald Trump for our nation, the vision of Kamala Harris, it is patriotic to go out and make sure people are voting for Kamala Harris. It is patriotic to make sure that our neighbors are voting. And I love the way that my colleague, Alyssa Slotkin, future senator, just put it, that your community as Iranian Americans, you understand almost more than any other community what it means. You don't take this democracy for granted. You don't take this ability to make sure that we go out and vote. The fact that we can have a say in the choice of the people who run our government, you don't take that for granted. But the fact of the matter is, there are many Americans who do take it for granted. And I grew up in the Southern Baptist Church. It's something my youth pastor always used to tell me is, your job ain't done. You got to go tell the world. And so I told him the other day, I saw him at a restaurant and said, I'm stealing from you. I'm going to tell people they got to tell the country about Kamala Harris and making sure that people are going out to vote for Kamala. But I also got to add this. We cannot send her there alone. We need to make sure that we make Leader Jeffries, Speaker Jeffries, and give her a Democratic House and a Democratic Senate, because her agenda, for it to be fully realized, we need to win the Congress. So I appreciate you all so much. I'll see you out on the campaign trail. I'm proud to be on her National Advisory Board, so I am on the road a lot. I'm actually in a car right now because I just got home. But I'm excited to see Tim Walz kick some serious butt in that VP debate tomorrow. So thank you all so much for having me, and let's win this thing.
Thank you so much, Congressman. We really appreciate you taking the time out. Keep doing what you're doing. We're going to be following you in your career. And thank you for showing up for the Iranian community. And we're going to go win this together. Thanks for your time.
Congressman Frost, three things. One is, we're thinking about you in Florida. Two, we really believe in Next Gen. Here in Connecticut, we helped, at the time, a 21-year-old second semester Georgetown student by the name of Will Haskell take over a seat that had been occupied by his predecessor for 22 years. So I'm personally a huge believer in Next Gen. Really appreciate that you stepped up. We know how hard it is to run and to serve, and we appreciate that. And finally, as you were talking about freedom, I got chills, because the whole reason that we have formed this coalition of Iranian Americans for Harris is that we all too well, having left Iran because we lost our freedoms overnight. And when I say overnight, I mean overnight. We know what that's like, so we never take it for granted here.
Of course. Well, I appreciate you all so much for welcoming me on this call. And I know I see we have one of my future colleagues, Yasmin, on the call, and one of my current partners in this work here in Central Florida, State Representative Anavi Escamani. So many champions from your community fighting for democracy, rights everywhere. And so I'm so happy to be here. And Connecticut has a very special place in my heart. I got involved in politics when I was 15 years old because I didn't want to get shot. And the reason I got involved is because of the Sandy Hook shooting. So many dear friends who are the reason I'm involved in this work from Sandy Hook and Newtown, and appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Next up, we're going to the Senate. We're going to hear now from one of the most important states, Virginia. I mean, Virginia was red not that long ago. It's purple. We got to pull through. Let's hear from wonderful Senator Kaine, who not only has a large constituency of Iranian Americans in his state, but truly understands our community and has been a really good friend to our community. Senator Kaine.
Hey everybody, Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia here. Sorry I couldn't be with you at the Iranian Americans for Harris-Walz event tonight. I've been busy on the road campaigning across every part of our Commonwealth, and it's been so great seeing firsthand how excited voters are to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. There's a lot at stake with the election this year, and we have to ensure everyone is registered to vote and ready to use their voice to vote blue up and down the ballot. I'm thankful for all of you for attending this important meeting and organizing to help elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. We need to stop Donald Trump because we know what a Trump election would mean for our democracy, our communities, our future, our global posture. That's why we've got to stand up and do our part. Here in Virginia, we have a large and thriving Iranian American community, so many of whom fled Iran to come to America, become business owners, build families, contribute to science, academia, and our society. These are things to be celebrated, not pushed away. It's important that your stories are heard and that your community comes together and builds political influence. To be seen and counted by volunteering, as many of you already have, we need more Iranian Americans, immigrants, immigrant children, and new Americans in public service, working on creating sound and inclusive policy. And that's why I'm happy to see this community rally together from across the nation. I also want to thank you for helping me out in races. My work on the Armed Services and Foreign Relations Committees means that I need experts, people who have connections all over the globe, and many in the Iranian American community have been really helpful to me in doing my work on those committees, and I look forward to continuing that partnership. Look, the stakes are too high to sit this one out. I know we can do it if we work together. So we'll knock on doors, we'll make phone calls, donate if you can, but most importantly, vote. Thanks for all of your effort. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm fired up and ready for great results in November.
Fired up and ready to go. Another great reminder to vote. I know I keep showing off my necklace, but you know, I get to wear it for the next 36 days. Somewhere along here are the QR codes. Do it. Let's get higher than $103,000. Come on, we are overachievers. We get A+. To mashkhamun, to imtihanamun. Let's hit this one out of the park. So go donate another $47. If you did $100, do another $100, because we just don't want to wake up on November 6th. So next, we're going to go to another Senator, Gillibrand, right here in the great state of New York, next door to mine.
Hi, I'm Kirsten Gillibrand, and I'm so excited to join Iranian Americans for Harris's virtual rally tonight. I'm thrilled to see how many of you are coming together to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. What you're doing is so important. We have so much work to do before Election Day, and the stakes could not be higher. Donald Trump spent his entire administration attacking our fundamental rights and freedoms and undermining our democracy. And Project 25's vision for what his next administration could look like is terrifying. Kamala Harris is a champion for freedom and families. She'll fight to protect our democracy, defend our fundamental human rights, and restore reproductive freedom in America. And she has a vision for how to build an economy where every family has the opportunity to not just survive, but thrive. We only have a few weeks left until Election Day. So it's time to dig deep, work hard, and do everything we can to elect Kamala Harris as our next president. Thank you all. Now let's get it done.
Let's get it done. I'll keep reminding you to please use this link below, the QR codes. Go to Iranian Americans for Harris. Help us write letters, help us make phone calls, and donate. Alex, who do we have next?
Well, I'm really excited about our next guest appearance, Shiva, because we're going to go away from politics for just a moment and recognize one of the greatest contributors to the pop cultural zeitgeist right now for stand-up comics, and that's Maz Jobrani. He is a comedian and actor, and he's on tour right now, but he is supporting Kamala Harris, and he's joined us tonight to shout us all out and to show his support for Kamala. So let's hear from comedian Maz Jobrani.
Hello, Iranians for Kamala. I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. Listen, I know our country is divided. Our own community is divided. And I am not someone who's here to tell you how to vote. That's the beauty of America. You can choose to vote for whoever you want. I'm just here to lay out the candidates and you can decide, okay? One candidate believes in a woman's right to choose and a woman's reproductive rights and empowering women, while the other candidate wants to be a protector of women and grab them. Kamala. You got to vote. You got to vote. One candidate actually has an economic policy to help small businesses and help with child tax credits and build from the lower class and middle class up, while the other candidate thinks that economically all we need is to do tariffs on China and give tax breaks to billionaires. Come on. One candidate believes in climate change and doing something about it, doing something about the future, while the other candidate thinks climate change is a hoax, folks. Come on. You got to. One candidate actually believes immigrants make America a better place and wanted to do something about immigration law by working with the other side, with the other side to pass a law for immigration and improve immigration in America, and comes from immigrant parents, while the other candidate thinks that immigrants are eating cats and dogs. Come on. You got to vote. One candidate believes in moving us forward and bringing us together and bringing America towards joy, while the other candidate is about doom and gloom and sharks and boat batteries. I don't know what they're talking about. Come on. One candidate actually believes in democracy, while the other candidate tried to overthrow democracy on January 6th. So you see, folks, the choice is yours. You make it. The future is in your hands. Come on. Oh my God.
So awesome, Shiva. We got to do like Maz does, and we got a Beshkan for Kamala. So if you loved Maz's speech,
we're just doing it, you guys.
If you loved Maz's speech, then check it out. I will Beshkan for you, and please donate right now. Tonight is the night. Check out the QR code. همین اینجا QR code داریم. یه دونه بشکن، یه دونه $47,100 donation. Do it right now and let's show our strength of our community.
Let's try to get to $200,000. We can do this. All right, who do we have next? Okay, we're recapping. So we heard from Congressman Hines, Congressman Adam Schiff, Congressman Frost. We heard from Alyssa Slotkin from Michigan. We heard from two senators, Tim Kaine and Gillibrand. And now I actually get chills introducing our next speaker. It is with immense pride for our community and for me personally to be able to welcome Yasaman Ansari, Congresswoman to be, Arizona District 3. We've known each other for a long time. She is tireless. I just wish I had 10% of her energy. We're really proud of you. She won her primary by only 38 votes. So I can't think of anyone better to tell us why it's important to vote, and tell us about your race, because in 36 days, we're going to elect the first Iranian American Democrat in this country. Welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Nice to see you. Thank you so much, Alex and Shiva, for hosting this. Moz is a tough act to follow, but really happy to be here. Hello, everyone. My name is Yasemin Ansari. I just recently became the Democratic nominee for Congress in Arizona's 3rd District, which is a very safe Democratic seat. So the primary was the hardest part for me. It's a seat that Ruben Gallego currently holds and is leaving to run for the U.S. Senate. I used to be a Phoenix City Councilwoman and Vice Mayor, and have always been very passionate about getting Iranian Americans more involved in civic engagement. It's something I have a love-hate relationship with, but obviously everyone here who's on this call is very passionate, and it's really on us to make sure we get the rest of our community across the country engaged and excited, and make sure they understand the importance of getting involved. I think for me, you know, the biggest thing that I want to talk about today is just how close this election is going to be. And as Shiva said, I won my primary by 39 votes, which was a horrible experience to go through. But this has kind of become a pattern in Arizona. In our last election 2 years ago, our Democratic Attorney General won by like 280 votes out of 2 million votes that were cast in the state. Back in 2020, Biden won the state by just 10,000 votes. So we know that with Arizona being, one of the most important battleground states in the country, we know it's going to be close. And I just want to let everyone know that I have a tremendous amount of confidence in the team that the Harris-Walz campaign has put together here in Arizona. But really the investment that, Shiva and Alex are focusing on, the donations, all of that is instrumental in powering this work. Here in the state, they have like 160 organizers who are out knocking doors every single day. The leadership at the top is like the best of the best in political talent in the state. They are really going above and beyond to connect with Republican voters, with independent voters. They just launched a entire advisory committee and a group focused on engaging the Mormon community out in Mesa. So the effort is significant. And since now I'm in a I'm in a safe Democratic seat, a lot of my campaign's focus is on working with the coordinated campaign, making sure we elect Harris-Walz here in Arizona, elect Ruben Gallego to the Senate, and so much more. So please do everything that you possibly can to get involved and support the efforts, not only in your own state, but in battleground states like Arizona. And get more Iranians involved. I want to give a shout out. My field director on my campaign, he's on this call. His name is Kian. He was Iranian. He worked so hard. He's like 21 and he's like, I should not be this stressed at 21, but he did it. And we pulled off a victory. We had our families involved, our parents knocking on doors, other members of the Iranian American community who had never done anything like this before, got engaged in our campaign and are now have that experience and are eager to keep going. So thank you again for having me. I'm super excited to do everything we can to get Iranian Americans amped up and make sure we elect Kamala Harris this November. Thank you so much.
Thank you again. You make us incredibly proud, and you bring up such a good point, which is every time we feel the exhaustion. And I'm thinking about 2020, where the night before the election, without exaggerating, at one point I was at our little headquarters here in New Canaan, Connecticut, and I just felt very lightheaded. I'd been dehydrated. You're just going, right? You're just going 18 hours a day as a volunteer. And I just felt like I needed to take a little nap. Like right there on the headquarters on the floor, we're Persian. We can like take a nap and have a picnic anywhere. So it's exhausting, but it's exhilarating, and you meet the most amazing people. So I hope everyone will join us on the phone bank on Wednesday and join us for the letter writing, and we can set you up with door knocking. We've got a group going to Pennsylvania. So whatever you want to get plugged in with, you can help us fundraise, the QR codes. You can help us door knock, the whole thing. Now, how lucky are we? And did I ever think I would see the day when I got into politics, back when nobody could even pronounce Barack Hussein Obama, that we would have not just one Iranian American woman running for Congress, but two. So with that, welcoming Mariam from Tennessee. Tough territory. Mariam, welcome.
Sorry. Hey. Hi, everybody. I'm Mariam. It's so incredible to be on this call. Thank you, Shiva and Sudi and everybody that's just Alex hustling to organize those Iranian Americans. I love to see it. We are doing the same down here. Welcome and reporting live from Project 2024, highly gerrymandered Tennessee, where we are hope bonding. We are no longer trauma bonding, and we're getting it done down here. I am Mariam Abel-Fazli. I am running as the Democratic candidate for the 5th Congressional District here in Tennessee. This is a district that has all the way down back to Andrew Jackson, and most recently from the 1950s, been a Nashville district. It has been blue forever, and it was gerrymandered back in 2022. Now I've got rural counties, suburban counties, and urban counties. I have put 21,000 miles on my car just getting to talk to voter by voter. I'm talking voter by voter, y'all. This is the immense work of democracy. It's something I deeply believe in. I worked in the Middle East for 10 years. I've worked with Iranians in my career. I am someone who has meditated deeply on civil society and democracy development. And it is an honor to be the person that is literally heading out into these communities that no candidate has been in for many, many years, not on the right and not on the left. And I think it was Jim Hines that said earlier, people vote for the candidate that feels like they get them. And all I do is talk to folks all day long about what they're going through and who they are and who they feel they are and what they're grappling with. And it is an honor. And I think being Iranian has taught me that. Being Iranian American, growing up in Nashville in the 80s taught me how to do that. Never take anything for granted. Always listen out for what's going on in the room and what's going on with people, and connect instead of divide. It is the honor of a lifetime to run this campaign and run this hard. Congratulations, Yasamin. I know you know what it's like, and I'm so glad you won your primary. I'm so glad you're getting in. And we are fighting for every single vote, and it's really wonderful. I've got folks mobilized, Iranian Americans and others that have never, ever been politically active. I'm talking about 15-year-old to 80-year-old, white Americans, all kinds of folks. There's a moment happening in Tennessee. I'm sure many of you were following it last year. And that is what I'm running on and for. We've got a lot of people in the middle that do not feel represented. And I know that by just talking to them, meeting them, I can get them over. So don't sleep on us. Don't sleep on this race. Check us out in election night when you're looking at everything else. It's a powerful and important movement happening down here, all up and down the ballot. We have all women ballots for the first time historically ever in many of my counties. So just wanted to say hello. I love your support. Any money we make right now, we'll take it all the way. And I'm so excited to be on this ballot with Kamala. There are so many people excited about her down here, and we're going to get it done. Thank y'all.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
So much.
So
America's
happy you could
a
join
melting
us.
pot, right? Did you think you'd have an Iranian with a Southern tang? I mean, I love it.
It's so
I
cool.
just love
So
it.
cool.
Yeah, love it.
So cool to
Attitude,
see.
you're up.
Yeah, so cool to see us represented all across the U.S. Thank you so much for joining us, Maya. I mean, you said something very important, which was that every dollar we raise tonight is going to help Kamala get elected and help protect democracy across the U.S., which is why, if you're watching this right now, if you loved hearing from Mariam, if you loved hearing from our senators and our local congressmen and our future Congress members, please click this link right here. But cell phone دیگه تعارف بلد نیستم. Take your cell phone, اینجا یه دونه scan بکن. یه ذره پول بده دیگه یک کمی. Everyone has to help a little bit دیگه. And you know, we've raised tonight, Shiva John, $110,000 ahead of this event, and every dollar we raise tonight during this event is going to help. So please go ahead and donate. And while you are donating, I'm going to play a little video for you all about Kamala Harris, so we can see just who it is that we're supporting.
The President of the United States is more than a chief executive, more than a commander-in-chief. The American presidency has been called a wager on human character, a bet that the Oval Office would represent the best of the American character. It's not about party or ideology. It's about character. Kamala Harris is the American dream. The daughter of immigrants, she earned our trust with hard work and getting the job done. A prosecutor, attorney general, United States senator, vice president. Toughness, grace under pressure, respect for others, a humility, and good humor. That's leadership.
The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
A president we can be proud of. Kamala Harris.
A president we can be proud of indeed. And this election is just so important, which is why your support means so much to us. And I also just want to say it's so important that we take over state capitals on top of the trifecta at the national level. Yes, we need to win the House. Yes, we need to win the Senate. There's so much that we can do if we deliver to President Harris a Congress and a U.S. Senate that is democratic, and so much work left to do to protect LGBTQ rights, women's rights, voting rights, civil rights for all people, and to protect democracy. But state capitals are incredibly important, and voting blue up and down your ballot. So if you need help with your ballots, please check out bluevoterguide.org, and they can help you fill out your ballots down ballot. And as the president of the Iranian American Democrats of California, proudly, I would be remiss if I did not mention that right here in California, home of the largest diaspora of Iranians outside of Iran, you can get help with your ballot by visiting our IADC, Iranian American Democrats of California website, and our voter guide is at iraniandems.org. So now I'd like to turn it over to Naveed, who's going to introduce his friend from the House of Representatives in Florida.
Hi, everybody. So tonight's been a great night of seeing some of our great elected officials and candidates running. One of those elected officials is a dear friend of mine. Representative Anna Eskamani is a fearless advocate in Florida for families and everyday people. She represents the 42nd District, raised in Florida by Iranian American immigrant parents. Anna's journey from Orange County Public Schools to earning a PhD, most recently, from the University of Central Florida is a testament of her dedication. First elected in 2018, she's made history as the first Iranian American in Florida's legislature and has championed affordable housing, public education, environmental protection, and human rights. Known for her unrelenting work ethic, Anna continues to fight for Florida's most vulnerable communities, always focused on creating a better future for all of us. Without further ado, Anna Eskamani.
Thank you so much, Navi June. Salam, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be with you. And I want to give a special thank you to both Shiva and Alex for also bringing us all together. What a beautiful and amazing and powerful event. I know I am so inspired by my fellow Iranian Americans who are representing our community in such transformational ways. Those who don't know who I am, my name is Anna Eskamani, and I am joining you from Miami. I actually represent parts of Orlando in the state legislature, but I'm down here in Miami helping to raise money for our abortion ballot initiative here in the Sunshine State. And so we are all working so hard to support everyday people and to make life better so that all of our community members can live up to that American dream that so many of our families and ourselves have sacrificed so much to be able to achieve. I was first elected in 2018, where I flipped my seat from red to blue and became the first and only Iranian American elected to public office in the Sunshine State. Florida is obviously a very tough state for Democrats, and Florida is also not a state that has the largest Iranian American community. And so I do take this responsibility very seriously to represent our community, represent our values in the state capitol. In fact, we passed a bipartisan resolution in honor of the Women Life Freedom Movement in the state capitol, the first of its kind for the state of Florida to acknowledge the protest for freedom in Iran and to show our solidarity with those who are fighting for their freedoms. And I'm really proud to also say, as Yasmin was sharing and her experience running for Congress, that we've inspired so many more young Iranian Americans to consider getting involved in politics. Because for me, growing up, my dad told me to focus on physics, biology, and chemistry. And when I told him I wanted to study political science and women's studies, he was a little bit unsure of what that would mean. But of course, I found a powerful home at working at Planned Parenthood, advocating for reproductive rights and education, and would eventually run for office. And I get to meet amazing young Iranian Americans like Yasmin, who's on this event with me, one of my former interns and staffers who's at Florida State University doing amazing work. Also, one of my first interns, Sunny, she's now a third-year law student in Miami and about to graduate and be a human rights attorney. So we're building this pipeline, right, of fresh-faced, of passionate Iranian American advocates who are going to change the world. And we have the opportunity right now to change the direction of our country in one that cares about the everyday people, that prioritizes issues like reproductive rights, that champions diversity and inclusion, that empowers immigrants instead of demonizes them, that helps to address some of our housing affordability issues, as Congressman Frost spoke of earlier. You know, I often think about my parents who came to this country from Iran at different points in their lives and met in Orlando working at the same donut shop. And I remember my mom's citizenship ceremony. I was 4 years old. And I remember when she took the oath to the United States and was able to start voting, to get more civically involved. The reason why my parents were attracted to the Democratic Party and why I consider myself to be a strong progressive is because I see in the everyday needs of Americans a desire to do what's right. But we have to ensure that our community members of all walks and backgrounds have the infrastructure, have the resources, have representation that cares about them and that values them, that brings people together versus tear us apart. I mentioned how I'm the only Iranian American elected in Florida right now. So I know that the responsibility that carries is very important, because for many of my colleagues who might have a skewed perception of Iran, just based on what we see in the media, based on what's on the news, I am there to break that stigma. I am there to be a representative of our community and to help ensure that when people think about Iranian Americans, they have a different perspective that challenges what they might see in the headlines. And that role is so important in not only being impactful as a community member within this diaspora, but also in changing hearts and minds to help elect thoughtful, intentional, intelligent, and passionate leaders like Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And so I really want to say thank you to both, again, Shiva and Alex, for bringing us together. I want to encourage everyone to give what you can. $100,000, $110,000 is fantastic, but we know that this race is going to be really tight. And as I raise money for reproductive rights here in Florida, as I raise money for my own campaign for voter registration here in Florida, I don't want to ever overlook the importance of us bringing our dollars together to help ensure that we don't go back to what it was when Trump was in office. Constant chaos, efforts to ban travel to and from Iran, just constant stress for the people that we care about and their ability to achieve that American dream. I refuse to go back. I want to see a president who values women, who cares about diversity, who has not concepts of a plan, but an actual plan. And that's why it's so important to not only elect Kamala Harris, but of course to give what you can to this effort. So thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much, Anna. You make us proud, and stay safe there. I think we're going to Ramesh Akbari back to Tennessee. Ramesh, are you on?
I am. Thank you. Can you all hear me?
We can.
Okay, perfect. All right. Hello, everyone. That's right. I am in Tennessee. I serve in the Tennessee State Senate. I am the Senate Minority Leader, and I have been in the legislature since 2013. And so my father's from Iran. He moved to Memphis in 1977 and happened to meet my mom, and he's been here ever since, and they've been together ever since. So I was particularly excited to be a part of this event and to, of course, continue the fight for Kamala Harris to be our next president. I'm actually heading to Nevada tomorrow to do some surrogacy work around the vice presidential debate. But I think most of the speakers have already laid it out. The contrast cannot be more clear between the two candidates. One is fighting for our democracy, the other one is tearing our democracy apart. One believes that everyone should have a fair shot, should have access to affordable housing, a great public school education, should be able to be safe from gun violence. On the other, believes the exact opposite. And I think that as Iranian Americans, it is our privilege and our duty to be able to raise our voice and say, listen, one, to dispel all the narratives that people say about us and all the it's always funny when I tell folks that my father's from Iran to see their reaction, which I love to see. I'm like, yep, that's right. And what a vibrant and amazing country, and what a vibrant and amazing people. And so I think it's important for us to show that we are contributors across this society, across every sector. Our voice, our political voice is important. And certainly the dollars that we're able to raise is important. And it's really exciting when you see people like Anna and you see other folks who are leading on a federal level, the work that they're able to do. But I'll say this, in Tennessee, we are in the super minority. So it is very difficult. Essentially, myself and my Democratic colleagues could all stay home, and my Republican colleagues could pass any piece of legislation that they wanted to pass, including our state budget. That's why I think it's even more important that we've been able to do some great things down here in spite of what you see in the headlines. I mean, obviously, we do a lot of the bad stuff. We're like Florida, Georgia, and Texas. We all try and pass the most hateful legislation, the most anti anything you can think of. We're at the forefront of it, even preventing folks from purchasing property, which is just wild. That's one that's been kind of going through different state legislatures. But I want to stress to folks on this call, the majority of the decisions that impact your everyday life come from the state legislature, from the books your kids read or can't read, to the amount of money your teachers are being paid, the programs that like the Affordable Care Act has to come down through the state legislature, which is why Tennessee is one of the few states that has not expanded Medicaid yet. So it's time for us to get excited to help elect folks on a local, state, federal level to make sure that on November the 6th, we have no regrets. Because I remember in 2016, my parents actually went to New York to the Hillary victory party because I had committed to being on the news in Memphis. And it was an awful day. Like, it just felt like, we knew what was coming, but I think that we couldn't have expected it to be as bad as it was. Donald Trump has already told us who he is and what he's already shown us what he's going to do. In Project 2025, he's telling us what he plans to do in the future. So let's get together. Let's, do everything that we can and make this a victory.
Excellent. Ramesh Jun, thank you so much. You make us really proud, and you remind us of how important it is to vote for our local officials too, right? You're not just showing up for Kamala at the top. Every vote, right, counts, and it's everything from your roads to your gun safety, your local government. All politics is local. Excellent. Navi Jun, who's next?
Great. We have up next, we have Councilmember Amir Farouqi. If you can you, is he here, by the way?
Yes,
there we go. Excellent.
You're on, and you've got a tough act to follow because we just had all these amazing women on at the state level. So let's see what you got.
Well, you saved the best for first, but I'm thrilled to be here. I want to thank Shiva and Sudi especially for organizing this. This is really a remarkable lineup that probably wouldn't have been possible a decade ago, and it's a testament to so many folks, elected and non-elected, who have rolled up their sleeves and become active in American civic life, whether in politics or otherwise. And I just want to thank the leaders who pulled this together. It's just an immense point of pride to see the breadth of Iranian American civic engagement and political engagement across the country. And this call is a testament to that work. And I think we're all excited about where that activity will grow and what it will lead to for our broader community. I'm Amir Farouqi. I sit on the Atlanta City Council. When I was first elected in 2017, I was the first Iranian American elected in the American South, which lasted for about a year. And then all of a sudden, a bunch of Iranian Americans started getting elected from Florida, Georgia, judges in North Carolina. And it's been just really, really remarkable to see. So much so that I feel like I'm I'm an old man in a room full of young up and coming politicos now. But Georgia, as you know, is a swing state alongside a handful of other states. Good to see all of our friends in California and the Northeast and places that are safe states for Kamala. But we have a lot of work to do here in Georgia, as well as in North Carolina and Pennsylvania, Michigan, et cetera. All the polls show former President Trump and Vice President Harris within 1 percentage point of another, either one up or one down in latest polls in Georgia. So it's going to be another close race here. We managed to swing for President Biden in 2020, which was a remarkable achievement, much like the growth of Iranian American political engagement, political power. A decade ago in Georgia, I don't think anyone thought that we would be a swing state. And between demographic shifts and migration of folks from around the country, our electorate has really shifted to be a very competitive state. And so the Harris-Walz campaign is front and center here, working really hard. I would encourage you, my ask for you tonight is if you have Iranian American friends or family in Georgia, to encourage them to vote. Because I think traditionally, Iranian Americans, as many of us elected officials can attest, are sometimes skeptical to engage in American politics. They don't always vote, they don't always contribute. But this country has given us so much as we've given it. And we all know the importance of democracy. And democracy, it's been said early on and throughout tonight, democracy is on the ballot. There couldn't be a starker choice between the candidates in front of us. And I'm not going to make the case, as it's been made pretty convincingly by a number of other folks. But at the very least, for Iranian Americans, we understand the power and opportunity that democracy creates, the stability it creates to raise a family, to build a business, to be successful. And I'm just so excited that we have the energy and political passion to turn out Iranian Americans to support the Harris-Walz ticket. So I ask you to do that to your friends. If you have any in Georgia, reach out. Same for North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Get on the phone, send an email, send a text, and let's get our friends elected. The last thing I'll note is, as an Iranian American in Georgia, surprisingly, the Atlanta City Council is the only legislative body in the country that I'm aware of with 2 Iranian Americans on it. And we are a city with a very small, the city proper, with a very small Iranian American population. It's almost negligible. Most of the Iranian Americans live in the suburbs here. And we have 2 Iranian Americans, myself and Liliana Bakhtiari, who've won districts with almost no Iranian Americans in them. And it's a testament to, I think, a lot of hard work that people have put in just to be part of American civic society and to stand up for issues that are important. Inclusion, democracy, opportunity. These are all the issues that are on the ballot. And I like to say Iranian Americans are my secret weapon when I run for office. I think it's time to make Iranian Americans one of the Harris-Walz ticket secret weapons as well. So let's get out and vote. The hour is long. The hour is late. The road is long. And let's go win this thing. Thank you for having me
Let's
tonight.
go win. Thank you
so much, Amir. So happy you could join us. We're so proud to have you. And if you're joining us, take out your phones right now, scan the QR code on the skin here and donate as much as you can. And if you need help with your ballots, please visit the bluevoterguide.org, bluevoterguide.org. And if you're in California, the Iranian American Democrats of California have prepared a voter guide for you. You can visit iraniandems.org to see your voter guide. Now, I'd like to introduce Shebre Kalantari Johnson from Santa Cruz, California in City Council District 3, and is also running for county supervisor. Hello, Shebre.
Hello. Hello, Alex. Hello, everyone. Salam be hamagi. Thank you so much for hosting this event. I actually just won my 2nd term for City Council. And I won that term. I won that election in March. So now I am focusing on our national election. So it's an honor to be here among all of you Iranian Americans and colleagues. And, you know, I know that most of you can relate to my immigration story, my parents leaving Iran 40 years ago after the Islamic Revolution, seeking a better life for themselves and for their 2 daughters, a society that's more open-minded, and the promise of America, the promise of free and fair elections, of human rights for all, of the rule of law, right? That's what drew my parents here 40 years ago. And I imagine that's what drew you or your family members here, the values and principles of our Democratic Party,
right? Social equality, religious secularism, our core belief in women's rights, rooted in courage and compassion. And my family found it here. And as has been said, it's not perfect, but we have it here. And I know you all know this, and it's been said, but this is what's at stake. It's our values, it's our principles, it's our democracy. It's what we came here to find a new home for. And it's urgent and it's right now. And I'm deeply concerned. We saw a snippet of it when we had Trump as president before, and we know what he's capable of. And he said what he's going to do if he's president again. We have huge issues. I know at the local level, we are challenged here in Santa Cruz, California, with housing and homelessness, with the economy. That translates into the national level as well. Healthcare, childcare, climate crisis. These are things that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will address. They have a plan.
Absolutely.
They've shared their plan. They will address it. And I was actually living in San Francisco when Kamala Harris was DA. So I've seen her at work. She is our person. So I'm asking you to please step up, do what you can. I've been writing letters. I've got a stack of them on my desk that I'm going to send out tomorrow. I've been helping organize canvassers for Nevada. I've been speaking at Flip the Vote events. I've been donating multiple times.
Thank you so much.
Please do that. Please step up and do what you can.
Thank you so much, Shebra June, and happy birthday. We understand it's your birthday today, and so happy you could join us. Next up, we'd like to introduce Mayor Brian Calderon Tabatavai, my friend, currently serving as mayor of West Covina and candidate for re-election to city council in West Covina. Brian.
Hey, how's it going? I'm a teacher. I'm the mayor of West Covina. I'm proud Iranian American to be elected. But most importantly, I'm proud to be getting on a caravan. My baba lives in Vegas, in Nevada. So we're going to go out. We're going to spend a weekend out, getting out the vote for Kamala and Tim Walz. Make sure they get elected. Make sure they get the votes in Nevada. And to all my Cali folks, we got some congressional races. For those of you out in the Valley, we need to get knocking doors for George Whiteside. I'm trying to get that camera on, but it's not coming on for some reason. But that's okay.
You're almost there. You are. We got you.
Oh, you got me. Fantastic. Well, like I said, we're going to get George Whiteside elected as well. We need to go Orange County, Derek Tran, because we can't send Kamala and Tim up to the White House without getting that House majority back. So again, you should be scanning. I'm scanning right now. You should be donating. There it is. All right. And then donate. Then we need to get on that caravan. We need to get to Nevada. We need to get to Arizona, all my Cali folks. We can spend a weekend. We do it all the time. And we need to knock doors. We need to pick up the phone. We need to donate. So if you haven't donated already, you should. Okay. And we need to get these folks elected because we know what's at stake. Everyone has said it. Thank you for doing this because we're part of this movement. We're not going back. So thank you again.
We're not going back, Brian.
Let's get this done. Let's go to Nevada. Let's go to Vegas. You know we love Vegas. Let's go knock some doors.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Brian. My friend Brian Tabatabai. And you know, we're repping all of California today. Right. And I want to introduce Sohaila Bana from Richmond, California, council member at District 4, and our friend at Iranian American Democrats of California. Sohaila John, welcome.
Thank you, Alex John. I'm very excited to be here with my fellow Iranian American Democrats. This is the first time I'm participating in such a political rally, and I hope we'll have many more in the future. Everybody talked about supporting Kamala Harris and how it's not just about supporting her, but it's about us, our rights, our children, our future. But I would like to add that we need to go one step further, have more rallies for Americans to run for offices, expanding the pipelines at the local government level that will hopefully lead to the Congress, to see more Iranian Americans at the Congress and support them more. Because as they say, when it comes to the politics, you're either at the table or on the menu. So let's just start defining our place at the table of American politics by having more such rallies. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's build our political future together. Thank you, Shiva John, for your hard work for this. And thank you, Alex John, for
Thank
being there
you.
for all of us. Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
Sohaila
so
John,
much.
thank you so much. And you know, Sohaila is a member of the Iranian American Democrats of California. If you aren't yet, visit IranianDems.org. This is a little plug and become a member. But thank you, Sohaila John. And I also just want to shout out Fariba Hezar Faye. Happy birthday, our dear steering committee member. Okay. Shiva, take it
Okay,
away.
thank you so much. If you have hung in with us, I know we're a little bit on PST, Persian Standard Time, but you know, we're only running like 13 minutes late. It's not bad for Persians. It's been an amazing night. My phone is ringing off the hook because everyone has enjoyed this evening. It is the first of many. So many of us have this vision to bring our community together. We've been working really hard on this rally as volunteers. We have full-time jobs, we have families. We're so proud of this event that you came, and I'm watching the numbers go up. So Alex, we're at $115,000. We started at 103. Let's keep going. It doesn't end. We've got a couple more minutes. So to bring us home, oh, I love Firuze June. I mean, who remembers reading Funny and Farsi? I tell Firuze June this all the time. When that book came out, I was like, someone sees me. Somebody sees me. I feel seen, right? So Firuze June, it is an absolute pleasure, honor to have you close us out and tell us why you joined this coalition, and what we need to do in the next 36 days.
Thank you. I'm going to keep it short. So the reason why I'm the last speaker is I was busy eating my neighbor's dog and cat. So with the hamster, of course, as appetizer. It's so important for me to be here today. I've never lent my name to anything, but the minute I found that the Iranian Americans were trying to get organized to elect Kamala, I just said, sign me up, I'll do whatever. There's this character in Greek mythology, Cassandra, and she had the ability to see the future and nobody ever believed her. And I felt that way the minute I heard Donald Trump years and years ago speaking, because I just said, wait, this man is basically Ayatollah Khomeini. And, you know, I just want to remind everybody that my late mother had more rights in Iran than my daughters would today, that I had more rights in certain states in America than my daughters have today. And just really quickly about the banning of books. I'm a writer, so this is something that really, really upsets me deeply. Banning books is truly the first step in fascism. And when you read history books, you will see that the first thing that fascists do is they want to limit the population from being able to think, because a thinking population is what a democracy needs. But what fascists want, what leaders like Trump want, is they want you to believe whatever they say. So the first thing that happens is books are banned. And when people say, well, who cares if books are leaving libraries? People can buy them. I can tell you as a kid, I didn't have money to buy a book. I'm a reader because libraries had books for me for free. So if you are not really concerned about books being banned, you really should be. If you just read a few history books, you will see that it is a horrible sign. It is a red flag with sirens going off. I like to think that I am not Cassandra. I am simply an Iranian American who understands what is happening in this country because I already experienced the same thing in Iran. And I'm really proud to be here today. And all I can say is, you know, we Iranians, we love to go shopping at Marshall's. So tonight, let's just donate what you would if you were at Marshall's instead of being here. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, I love it. And I love you. And I'll never forget the first Zoom that we did right after President Biden dropped out. Kamala became the nominee and we organized the first Zoom. I got on a couple minutes early, and there at 10:45, 15 minutes early, was Firuze Duma, like my hero, all the books. I mean, you know, we've used your books in every parent, global citizen workshop that I can get your books into. And so there you were. And so we're really proud to have you as part of our team. And thank you so much. So that's it, guys. That's the show. Alex, what do we need to remember? I know we need to remember to vote. We need to go to Iranian Americans for Harris. We got to donate. We better see some of you folks on Wednesday.
Listen, I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to Arizona to knock on doors. You can join a phone bank, a text bank, a canvas. You can join Iranian American Democrats of California by visiting IranianDems.org. You can visit Blue Voter Guide to check out your voter guide in your state, wherever you are. And remember, we are a community that is bound by a love of freedom, democracy. We're bound by protecting our families and our loved ones. And right now is the most crucial time for us to do that. So check us out and visit one of these QR codes and donate. And let's get Kamala Harris over the finish line together.
Fantastic. Please, a round of applause for Sudi June and Fariba
Sudi,
June. I mean, running the
Sudi and
tech for
Faye.
this thing is a nightmare, and we're so grateful that it ran so smoothly. Thank you, everybody. You'll get some follow-ups from us. We're really, really excited for the next 36 days. Let's do this and watch one last video.
In this election, we each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? There are some people who think we should be a country of chaos, of fear, of hate. But us, we choose something different. We choose freedom. The freedom not just to get by, but get ahead. The freedom to be safe from gun violence. The freedom to make decisions about your own body. We choose a future where no child lives in poverty, where we can all afford health care, where no one is above the law. We believe in the promise of America, and we're ready to fight for it. Because when we fight, we win. So join us. Go to KamalaHarris.com and let's get to work.
I'ma keep on running because the winner don't quit on themselves.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank
Follow us
you.
on social media.
Good
Lots
night.
of great videos there from Dr. Gofrani and Firuza June.
Yes.
Lots to follow. Good night,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Shab Bekhair.
Shab Bekhair.